John Heisey. I'm the president and the founder of Covert Recruiting. We are a Chicago-based specialist recruiting company that primarily works with these high growth companies that have great product or great service. They need great people, but they don't always know how to do it or don't always want to do it. So we provide very hands-on, very deep service in the recruiting and the talent acquisition space to help them out.
Now, John, you and I connected a couple of years ago. You are an entrepreneur like myself. I'm going to broke off on your own after a few handful of successful client relationships, right? And what I love about what you do is you're very personal in your nature. And a lot of recruiters or recruiting organizations aren't always like that. So I just wanted to give you that shout out because I've always really appreciated that about you. And this conversation came up just from a random conversation we were having on LinkedIn, which, everybody knows is kind of the place for workplace chatter these days. And it's really been an interesting year for so many of us, whether you're an independent consultant, you're in small business, you're an enterprise, you're a nonprofit. We're all kind of navigating this really interesting environment. And that's what caused us to have this conversation, because I think you offer a pretty cool perspective on what you're seeing from the talent side and the business side. So let's just kind of start there and tell me what you're seeing.
Well, first off, that's a huge compliment. There are so many salespeople and recruiting people out there, and a lot of them try to create some kind of narrative. I just say what I see because I just don't know how to do anything different. And then I put it out on the internet, and people sometimes react to it just like you did. So, hey, that's
Yep.
great. It is a weird time right now, and I've been doing this since 2011. And I do reminisce about the good old days where the old veteran recruiters would say, well, yeah, it's going to be busy for a year or two, or hey, it's going to be tough times for a year or two. You need to buckle down
Mhm.
and learn the basics better. Since COVID, the world in recruiting has been so volatile, and that has not eased up. It's gotten even more wild and crazy. So we are seeing big swings in candidate behavior and client behavior quarter by quarter at this point. And then with new technology and new workflow stuff and AI, it is such a changed game literally from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it is such a hustle for not just the job seekers, for the companies that need to hire, but also for me.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, you mentioned candidate behavior. What kind of things are you seeing that are different than what you're used to?
Oh, man. Well, even thinking of COVID times, I was laid off in the midst of COVID. I lost a job that I really liked and had been at the place for 4 years, and then I was not there. So we were lucky to have the nice bounce back with the wonderful Great Resignation, where candidates could go to companies and go to a place where they cared about or got a nice raise on it. And we were seeing and getting candidates 20% raises compared to what they had been making before. Everybody was very happy, but we know that crashed a little bit too. And I think everybody's had the shoulder tap at this point, especially
Yeah.
marketers, which we've done a lot of our focus on.
Mhm.
And again, myself, twice in my career, it's been awesome. Um, I think it's a different perspective on loyalty and stability. People want stability. They don't want to have to go looking for jobs because they know how challenging it can be. And the prospect of having to go months of searching and applying to hundreds, if not thousands of jobs. I know a lot of people that have had to do that, and it really, really sucks. It is
Yeah.
not something to do multiple times in a 4 or 5 year period. So I think there's big effects on candidate behavior. We're going to hold on to something that's pretty good and see things through. So in one sense, we get a lot of people listening. If we have a good pitch for a new opportunity, people will listen. But if it's not a clear move, they're going to stay put. So that reflects now to my clients. I have to tell them, you really need to offer something worthwhile.
Yeah.
Better opportunities, better pay, better benefits, better flexibility, growth. There's 4 or 5 hot ones in there. But if they don't, they're not going to get their top choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of like an ongoing effect from COVID. And I had a similar journey with, like you said, a lot of us did during COVID, where I was in nonprofit. The majority of us in nonprofit were laid off. And that's what
Yeah.
kind of started my consulting journey. And it's been a progress of just building one piece at a time. But we did see that huge influx in salary and candidate value. Do you think that's starting to go in the other direction, or it just stabilized?
Probably the other direction, to be honest. There's so many people that, again, their ears are open and they're
Hmm.
still applying to things. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make a move, but even reflected in my clients, they're pickier than they were before.
Hmm.
They're not going to pay me as a search professional decent money when they've got 1,000 applicants in there.
Yeah.
So how does a great person stand out? There's a couple different ways. We can talk about that later, but it does change the client hiring team's behavior because they've got so much more selection.
Yeah, so let's just
Yeah.
talk expectations then, right? And we can get into negotiating salaries and stuff, but as far as what a candidate should expect going into some of these conversations versus what might be a little bit different from the last couple of years to
Yeah.
best set themselves up for success.
I think getting conversations and getting reps is the most important thing, and that's hard to do. The best tip ever is you've got to be your own multi-channel marketer when it comes down to it. So just sending a resume is not good enough. You've got to go really spend time on the companies that you care about, find the people that are probably the ones with the pain points, and then get in their face
Yeah.
constantly. A lot of ways to do it, but that's it. They've got to be such an ever-present, hey, I'm the right person for this. Here's why kind of thing. Because there might be 50 others just as good as you that are applying.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you
Do you
stand out?
think, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think soft skills and your core values are still as important as they were a few
They're all
years ago?
always the deal breakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people can have resume A, resume B, they can be identical. How do you win? Persistence, personality.
Yeah. Yeah. So find the right company that fits with who you are, not just what you do. Yeah. That's
Yep.
always been important. And that's a big thing with when I started to build my own consulting agency was
Yeah.
thinking about, I know what I do and I know what I like to do, what I'm good at, but who am I? And that's a big
Yes.
difference in the folks that you interview too, especially as you get into those senior leadership roles. You want to know the person who you're interviewing is solid on who they are and what they believe in.
Yeah. That's so relevant even for us and even for you as an entrepreneur. What do you do? Whose problems do you solve? And
Yeah.
at the onset, and in the Great Resignation, we had a lot of companies from all over the place and a lot of different industries, sizes. Some of them are still great long-term clients, but they fell into our lap. It was very coincidental just because we were eager and present as a recruiting company. We've had to focus more and more on who we actually serve.
Hmm.
Just like even a solo person like yourself, like who is your client and whose
Yeah.
problems do you solve?
Yeah. Yeah. So good
That's a
advice.
daily challenge for me. I don't
How so?
know
Tell
how to
me.
perfectly do it
How would you describe yourself?
as a person or as a company.
Well,
Maybe both.
sure.
Um, I think I'm a natural connector and a storyteller, and I can get people excited with the way I talk and present things, which is important. So I'm good at catching attention, I think. And I think people trust me because I'm authentic. I will make fun of myself. I don't take a lot seriously. What I do take seriously is doing things the right way and being diligent and detail oriented. And I know in a sea of salespeople that many are cheesy and transactional and don't have your best interest in mind. And that is very deliberate in how I try to stand out because I will put myself out there as just me and what I do. I don't care if I feel it, if it's not a right fit, because I know that causes trouble for everyone in the end. My
Sure.
client's unhappy, they need to redo it. The candidate leaves in 2 months because they were sold some kind of story that isn't reality.
Hmm.
And I've still got my mortgage to pay, and that doesn't work if I don't keep people there long term. So that's
Sure.
a big deal to get it right from all those angles from the start.
Yeah. Yeah. I also say you're also very good at the transparency and follow-up piece, right? And that's something, we
Yeah.
look at, which is still a problem with clients or candidates ghosting one another one way or the other. Just be
Yes.
transparent. If you're not interested in the job, tell the recruiter, tell the hiring manager,
Yeah.
hey, found another position. They'll appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, ghosting is a huge controversy. It's on LinkedIn every day. It's everybody's favorite algorithm because it'll go viral, and there's always a story about how
Yeah.
someone got forgotten. It's impossible for us to get back to everyone. We can't do
Yeah.
it. But if like you and I had a conversation about a role and we
Hmm.
presented you, if I ghost you, I'm an idiot for doing that. If I say, hey, didn't work out in just a 2-minute email, 2-second email, that's better than nothing. You got to
Yeah.
close the loop.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can
And it
take
goes both
rejection.
ways. Yeah. It goes both ways. It's just a sign of respect.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I tell people the only way you can make me look bad is to just like not show up. Like be yourself. It's okay if you're not a fit. I don't care. Um, if something comes up and you're not into it, just tell me and don't leave me hanging.
yeah. Yeah.
Still
So
happens
that's
though.
that I know it does. It's
It's fine.
some to an extent unavoidable because people will be people, but that's also
Yep.
what helps you to kind of sort through and find the right group for you.
Yep.
And something that I feel like LinkedIn in particular has really kind of come a long way. And there's obviously still plenty of noise out there, but there are groups who are being very intentional in elevating folks who are being authentic, who are trying to put, their message out there. And those are some of the folks who I tend to connect with because I like to help be the connector, folks. I've been in the job market long enough, and I've been the ups and downs of it long enough that I know how just demeaning it can be to have to go through that
So bad.
dance so long. So when I find good partners like you and some of the other individuals who have been very kind in helping me throughout this journey, I like to share your advice with other individuals who are kind of coming up in this gig work industry. And what advice would you give them to help them to elevate their individual, or maybe it's just a side gig?
Yeah. It, I didn't start in recruiting until I think I was 29, and I didn't get good until I got laid off. I don't think that took 9 years. I was pretty good, but I wasn't really good. So I think going backwards or any advice I would give to someone is get good at what you do, then do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Find your area. Like again, I could barely tie my shoes until I was 30 years old. Like I didn't know what was going on. So I might not be the best example. You needed to find something that does work for you and you enjoy doing it. And I'll do this until I probably drop dead or I get really, really good at it and I can afford to stop doing it. Um, but definitely master something as soon as you can so you can take advantage of that specific expertise.
Yeah, and I see a lot of conflict between being very specified in an area of your industry, whether it's marketing, what I kind of call my claim to fame, or IT, or some of these other
Sure.
fields where you can know 10 different elements of it, or you can really hone your skills in on one. What is your perspective on kind of what clients are starting to look for a generalist versus a really specific expert?
It's more the specific and I'm again trying to do more and more specific every day. It's I don't come from that traditional sales background and that like
Mhm.
funnel type mindset. So we want to make sure that we have enough potentials out there that we can partner with an approach and we're not too narrow. And my favorite example is my first LinkedIn rep when I went solo. He said he's got one of his other clients that is a podiatrist recruiter, so foot doctors.
Okay.
And that is the biggest, funniest niche that I could think of. There's about 2,000 of them in the United States, and this recruiter knows every single one of them, keeps them in their
Wow.
database, keeps in touch, knows where they go to school, knows when they're going to retire. So when there is a need at a practice or a hospital, wherever, this person already knows the 50 or so that can consider something new, and all they do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I have the guts to do something that narrow
Yeah.
or the passion of feet that person does. Um, but it's a daily thing. Like our clients want someone that is in an industry, has track record in doing it, and is becoming more and more specific. So that's my everyday is to figure out more and more narrow who we serve and what problems we
Yeah.
fix.
Yeah, that tends to be what I'm seeing too from a marketing perspective in particular, because marketing generalists for a while, especially during COVID, we kind of saw as a trend, right? Companies were just looking for people
Yeah.
to fill all of their gaps because suddenly they had so many.
Yep.
And now it is appearing to become more specified. So get the training, figure out what you're good
Mhm.
at, what you enjoy doing, and really hone those skills.
Yep.
So in you, sir, you do kind of a variety of recruiting for, you do some creative fields, you do IT fields. What would you say you see most often, or is really more of your focus area?
We've had so much success in the last probably 3 or 4 years within about 5 key areas. So again, that's fitting the plan of being more specific.
Mm-hmm.
We like to work with leadership level accounting and finance. Those are usually hard to find, and they're so important to companies. If someone isn't doing the books right, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So our entry is usually some kind of controller or accounting manager or a CFO that gets into the FP&A, the planning and analysis part of it. Those are the great entry points because once you get your book straight, then you can pay for things like marketing or
Yep.
sales or something
Yep.
else. I started as a tech recruiter. I did 8 years of it. We still can do it. My network's not as sharp as what it used to be, but it is something we're very good with still.
Mm-hmm.
So we will do some tech roles. Uh, our favorite is more the marketing and digital because
Yeah.
it's so visual. It's so in our face at this point.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variety. So we'll do anything entry to executive within digital. So it can be content writers, it can be paid media, it can be social media, it can be demand gen, B2B or B2C. That's a list of maybe 10 or so skill sets at various levels that we really enjoy filling. And we've got a really good track record with those two.
Yeah, and I love seeing you break those out into different roles, which kind of
Oh,
addresses
yeah.
the specification versus the generalist. And a big part of why we've seen those specifications come to light more is because it's becoming so broad that it's very
Mhm.
difficult, if not impossible, to see one person wear it all. You know, I'm a digital
Yeah.
marketer, storyteller, creative. I can design if need be, but it's not my first claim to fame. I always tell clients, but your story strategy and aligning all of your channels is really where I'm at. And then you dabble into some of these other areas that can become more tech oriented. So I'm sure you're seeing some of
Absolutely.
that crossover with the tech side.
Certainly the automation people and the CRM people and the email
Yep.
people. We just had email issues not too long ago. We were trying to figure out the new deliverability standards, and I'm not an email admin. I'm lucky
Mm-hmm.
enough to know a lot of good ones, so that was an easy problem solve. But yeah, there's about 12 different skill sets, and I'm making that number up. There's about a dozen or
There's a
so.
variety.
Yeah, like there's endless, and there's different blends of everything for every type of company. And even being a generalist in that space, especially when you're at a smaller company, you need someone that can do 5 to 10 different things. And that's not at all a bad thing, being a generalist.
Yeah, that's essentially how I kind of got to where I was because my background's in public relations. And then
Yeah.
you get into the nonprofit sector in particular, you wear a lot of
Yes.
hats. So you broaden those skills, but it's helpful because then you get to see, okay, we could be even more impactful if I had somebody who really did this full time.
Yep.
And I'm sure those are some conversations that you have with clients too. Like, I know you think you want this, but it's actually going to look like this.
That is such a good point because we've got enough market intel and market data to say definitively what that is. We've, like, if you need a life cycle or retention marketer,
Mhm.
retention marketer, those are very specialized, but sometimes you don't always need that. Sometimes you need someone that can do a wider area, and we can show different people with different blends of that and different skills to meet the level that they are right now. And it does take
Mhm.
some education. And again, these hiring managers don't always know who's out there and what they can get. They might think one thing going into it, and then when presented with a menu of some options, that there's a better direction to go.
Yeah, yeah, because not everybody doesn't know everything, doesn't know every industry, and sometimes I think
Yeah.
recruiters get caught between a rock and a hard place, thinking like, "Well, you're a recruiter, you should know all that there is to know about this industry," but it's
Yeah.
all constantly evolving.
We need to be accurate with what we say
Mhm.
so we can build that credibility too.
Yeah, yeah, and
There,
that's good advice for us solopreneurs who are trying to build our own,
yeah.
engine. You got to know what you're targeting and what your strengths are.
Yeah. I feel it's okay to send a candidate that doesn't get a job. They've got to be good,
Mhm.
And you've got to accurately say, like, hey, this is what this person does, this is their background. If you find out that you present someone like, well, they didn't actually do the types of campaigns that you said they did, then that shoots yourself in the foot. So
Yeah.
being diligent and being good at telling that person's story
Mhm.
is that's where the service comes in, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And goes back to that conversation about being honest and authentic because
Yep.
at the end of the day, you have to answer yourself.
Yeah. Why
So,
did you tell them that I've done all these campaigns? I've never done all of that. Doesn't make that candidate any better or worse. They are what they are, which is
yeah.
fine. But we need to highlight the things that are valuable and like, hey, there's building areas too.
Yep, absolutely. So for individuals who are navigating this marketplace right now, any advice that you'd give them to maybe anticipate what might come next? I mean, I feel like that's hard for any of us to do. Even some of the greatest economists are struggling with that
Yeah,
right now, but
it's it's exactly like what we're going through. You always got to be listening to things that come your way. And there's a zillion recruiters out there. There's 500 just in Chicago. We all do different stuff, but it's like 463. So keep your ears open. Know what you're worth in the market, where
yeah.
you can go. If you get that shoulder tap on a Tuesday, when you get your HR showing up in a Zoom, have an idea what your next steps might be. How do you want to tell your story? And I think get on LinkedIn, share it. The community is there to help and is willing to help. But the first thing is to be proactive with your target list. Who do you want to work for? Go find your companies that you care about and put them in a spreadsheet. Do 100.
Yeah.
And then you start knocking on those doors because, again, if you get laid off or if you don't like where you're at, you need to have some kind of plan in place.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that essentially kind of how you got into what you're doing? Was your plan always to go independent or
No, I liked the company I was with. I
yeah.
was really upset that I was no longer there. So I was able to find a consulting role fairly quickly after, which was fine. So that bought me time. And my wife's got a good real job. So I could go try something crazy. And I was just so stubborn and upset. And I took a lot of my frustration out.
Mhm.
And it was time for me to go try it. There's literally no better time for me to try
Yeah.
independent than that time. And it took a year and a half to gain some momentum. And then we added a couple people and we got two on the team right now. They're phenomenal. So now we need to get to that next level. That's uncharted
Yeah.
territory too.
Yeah, growth,
Yeah.
strategic growth. I've helped a couple of up and coming and new businesses launch, and that is a common challenge that they all face in different ways.
Yep.
So it can be fun and stressful at the same time, but there's
Yeah.
something great about building something on your own. And I was kind of put into mine in a similar fashion, of course, with COVID and about a year and a half into mine now too. So good to hear that that's sort of that breaking point when things might start to
Yeah.
turn.
It's the way I think about it is I'm not afraid to mess something up or fail, and I want it to be my failure rather than someone else's
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. Yep. I put things out there and the people who resonate with it, who enjoy it, those are the
Mhm.
right people, you know?
There's a lot more of us than I knew about before
Yeah.
trying to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's been a very
Um,
fun little tight knit community, even within the little recruiter niche that we're in. And I
yeah.
met a lot of great people.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, embrace the competition, right? I've got a network of growing creatives, and we serve as resources for each other. Not,
Yep.
doesn't all have to be, you know, fit to the fire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to let someone come in and look at all my contacts or anything like that, but
Right.
the amount of the willingness to share ideas, good ones and bad ones, what's worked, what's not worked, is almost universal with everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So find your network, find the people who support
Yeah,
you, continue to build those. Partnerships have always kind of been a priority for me. I appreciate you chatting with me
totally.
about it today because I think that's just what fuels everything.
Yep. It's so easy to get caught up, and this is a lesson we're learning in the last couple months. Sending LinkedIn's and emails is fine, but you got to get on the phone. You got to meet people like this too.
Yeah.
I do miss being in the office every day to an extent, and just let's just go get coffee, or let's meet me at the Chipotle kind of thing. So it does take a little more effort to get something like this going, but we're putting a bigger priority on it for sure.
And are you fully remote?
Oh yeah,
That's your home office, sure.
this is it. There might be a little dog down here supervising, hanging out. I've got enough connections in the city in Chicago that I can go hang out in an office if I wanted to. And it's fun to get out and see the energy and go meet a client. And we do that as often as we can. But one of my teammates is in Atlanta and another one is elsewhere, kind of a digital nomad. So we can
Yeah.
work wherever we can.
Yeah, yep, that's how I operate as well. And I'm downtown once or twice a week meeting with
Yeah.
clients because I agree those in-person collaborations still have significant values, but the ability to, I mean, for better or worse, get up at 7:30 and start cranking things out for me is great because I have 3 kids, so that I can get that time back later when I need it to
Yeah.
be with them. So
Yep. I'm the opposite. I hit the snooze button, but I'll work until 8:30.
whatever
Yeah.
works for you.
Yeah. Couldn't do that before. It was 9 to 5.
Yeah. Well, and you probably bring a better energy to work too, knowing you got that little bit of extra sleep.
If I were to call someone at 7:30 in the morning, who's going to pick up? Nobody is.
Yeah.
But if I call them at 5:30, like, yeah, I'll get a pickup for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You know your industry, you know your clients. I mean, that's the great thing about it is you can set
Yeah.
the schedule that works best for you.
Yeah. I mean, you can
So
crush through your LinkedIn emails and your Outlook in the morning too. That's your good coffee
yeah,
time, quiet work.
that it is. So, well, anything else you'd like to add today to help our little network of gig workers and those clients who are looking to fill roles and just cannot find the right fit? Any other advice that you'd give those people to help them get through the rest of this year?
Oh, I could fill a whole hour if we needed to. I think for a candidate that's looking, hey, this is the hardest market I've seen in 15 years. We've gone through recessions, we've gone through pandemics, we've gone through tech revolutions, and you just got to know where you stand, know who would be interested in you, and then make sure you can kind of create your journey towards that should something go wrong. So
Yep.
the days of staying in a company for 10 years in a row are probably gone.
Yeah.
We kind of grew up
Yeah.
thinking maybe we were going to do that when we were youngsters, but guess what? That's not the case anymore.
Yeah, people jump around. Not to say that loyalty is dead, but it takes a little bit more intention, I think.